Many people are probably busy with the Grammys and talking about it, but there are other things that are taking place around the world right now which are pretty sad, and people need to talk about it so it can end. For example, in Myanmar, yesterday I talked about it, about 10 or so people died, and today is even worse. According to Reuters, at least 39 people were killed during protests in Myanmar, making it the bloodiest day since February coup. So many of you know what's happening there. The military pretty much did not want to get the elected government, and they took over the government, and it was pretty much a coup. And then the people went on streets to protest against it, but the military used violence against the people. Here's a clip you guys should check out. As you guys can see, the video really does look like something out of straight out of hell. I just hope the world pays more attention to it. I do know that the UN is talking about it, but they need to hold Myanmar's military more responsible. One thing doesn't make sense to me is that the people there that the military are shooting, aren't they there like their own people? The people they're supposed to protect. I get it, they're protesting and yeah, let's say even breaking things, but it does not give them any right to kill the very people that you're supposed to protect. Because if you have no people, you have no country. Another sad thing that happened, well, actually, is still happening, is that according to NH World Japan News, a survey by International Federation of Nurses Association suggests that about 3,000 nurses have died from coronavirus around the globe. Now, according to the same article, they say the figure might be much higher because some country lack the data, which it might be true because these are the people that are at the front lines. I remember when it first started happening, so many doctors and nurses were dying, especially like countries like Italy. I'm just so glad that there's vaccine now that they can take, and they're a little more protected against the virus. But the sad thing is that I looked at the chart of coronavirus cases around the world. While for the United States, it shows that it's going down. Maybe it's effect of the COVID vaccination or so. According to Biden, they're now giving over 2 million vaccines a day, which is pretty good. In no time they can cover around 75% of the population. If they are going at this rate, it probably takes like a couple of months, to get a good portion of the U.S. citizens, to get them vaccinated, and it might have a big impact on it. Maybe that's one of the reasons why the cases are going down in the United States. However, unfortunately, when I looked at the graph, the cases in around the world are actually going up after it's going down as a whole. So hopefully, as more country develop vaccines and there's more vaccines available to people, hopefully they get to take it, and we can, end this pandemic once and for all. We might not end it. It might be around for a while, but we can have a better control over it. Also, President Biden, he tweeted today that Breonna Taylor's death was a tragedy, a blow to her family, her community, and America. As we continue to mourn her, we must pass ahead to pass meaningful police reform in Congress. I remain committed to signing a landmark reform bill into law. So hopefully, good bills come to a pass. But what we need to focus on is there needs to be more involvement between the community and the police, and there needs to be more training. We should not isolate the police or the community, because if you isolate one, it might have a change for a short while, but in the long term, if you isolate one and make one look bad, it's good, they're not going to perform in a way that you want them to. So the best outcome we could have is there needs to be more training, more involvement in the community by law enforcement. If they're more involved, I believe they will understand one another better. And there is, I believe, abuse of powers, and there's bad apples you can't deny pretty much all over the world. Anyways, guys, these are some of the things taking place around the world. Don't forget to subscribe and tune in tomorrow. Till then, take care of yourselves.